Welcome, team leaders, to a new edition of the TL Capacity Building. We're going to be seeing some new content on specifically the performing phase and some of the spaces that you need to deliver as team leaders for the performing phase and to ensure that your teams are performing at its best. So we're going to start today by the working spaces. Working spaces is part of the performing phase. And first, let's refresh a little bit about our objectives. So why we're doing this? Why are we providing this TL capacity building? So that you guys can really understand the core of our organization, why we do what we do, how we do it, to understand your role as team leaders, so that you can also make your members understand ISEC and how to take the best out of it, getting the knowledge and the skills to be the best team leader and becoming experts in team management. So to start with the working spaces, I wanted to start first with our ISEC way. Why? Because the only way that we can develop leadership, and it's right here in the ISEC way, in the what, we understand our why, we understand our how, but really are we actually ensuring the what of our ISEC way? In our what, it says very clearly that leadership is only developed through learning from practical experiences in challenging environments. And how do we do this? By cross-cultural exchanges and by creating these opportunities. What does this mean? Either the EPs who go on these practical experiences in challenging environments and these cross-cultural exchanges, or also our members. Our members are also developing their leadership through practical experiences. It's not just the theory, it's not just, oh yes, I'm part of a team and that's it, but actually having the practical experience and the learning environment to be this challenging environment all the time. And as it says in the second part, we do this through cross-cultural exchanges and by creating these opportunities. This part is about our members. Our members create these opportunities for our EPs. This is the way that we have to develop leadership. If our members are not having results, or if our members are not actually taking action and working, then it doesn't lead to cross-cultural exchange. It will not have results. And of course, it will not develop their leadership, because this is how we develop leadership in this organization. So if it doesn't generate exchange, it is not ISEC. And this is something that I really wanted to point out, so that you guys understand how important it is for us to really deliver these working spaces in the best way possible, so that our members can develop their leadership in these working spaces, to also ensure the leadership development of their EPs, because in the working spaces they're going to get results. So if it doesn't generate exchange, guys, it is not ISEC. So let's start with the working spaces. So what to take into account when organizing a working space? I put it very clearly so you guys, when you see the booklet, you have everything here. So first of all, having an agenda. It is crucially important that you do an agenda. Even if it's just a working space, it needs to be framed and it needs to look organized and be the most efficient it can be. For that, we need an agenda. Internal communication, either with your team or even in the department, if it's going to be a department working space, it needs to be communicated. Where is it going to be, at what time, and with enough time so that the member can actually say, okay, yes, I can organize my life and balance my life, my studies, my family, my friends, in order to be able to be there and actually participate of these working spaces. The time, the working space, it doesn't have to be just random, like, okay, I'm going to be a whole day in a cafe and whenever you want, you arrive. No, let's set a start date and an end date. I'm sorry, a start time and an end time. So it's actually framed and it's like, okay, 2 hours of absolute productivity. Just working. Then if you want to stay and discuss more topics, more actions, more strategies, it's fine. But let's actually put a start and an end to the working space so that it can be framed. Same for the duration. And then the resources. What do you need for this working space? Are you going to be using flip charts? Are you going to be using markers? Are you going to be just using the computers? Do you need internet? Do you need to make calls? Do you need snacks? I always say that there's no working space without snacks. And also, do you have the tracking tool, the applicants, the contacts of these people, the names, the current state, whatever you need to be actually able to work and have an efficient working space. Then the goals. Every working space needs to have a goal. There's no working space without a goal. It needs to be settled. What is the ultimate goal that we need for this working space? How many approvals are we going to get? How many applicants are we going to get? What is this lag measure or measure of success that we're going to be pushing in this working space? And also, what are the lead measures that are going to get us there? So if our goal is 10 approvals, okay, how many how many acceptance do we need, how many applicants do we need, how many leads and signups do we need, so that we can achieve that goal for the working space. And then follow up. Always when we finish the working space, there may be actions to be taken forward. There may be other EPs that were not contacted, or um, that said, okay, call me later, something like this. So what we need to do is actually to follow up on these people, to have actually responsibles for each one of the actions and a deadline. So let's go into each one of this in a more clear way. So to get into the agenda doesn't need to be complicated. It can be super simple, and you can start with a check-in so that everyone is like in a in a good mood and expectations about how we're gonna work, how is it gonna work. Then I would recommend you connect with the why. So you're there with your team, you're the team leader. Make them connect with the why. It can be just one video. Uh, about, I don't know, about an exchange, or about a project in another country. It can be about the reality of your country, whatever you need to connect them to the why, and to actually make them understand that every single small action, like one email, one call, can actually make the difference to develop leadership and to impact the world. Then how? Okay, what actions are we going to do in this working space? You just explain what are the actions that you need to do uh, for those couple of hours that you're going to be all together, and what is the goal that we have. Your members need to be like super clear goals, uh, so that they know what they're aiming for. So then you can get into the working sprint. So you can have like a working space, like 40 minutes, 30 minutes of working, giving them a break in the middle. It's also always like cool, so that they can refresh, they can get more energy. You can maybe do an energizer, a roll call, or some really cool energizer that you know. Then working again, and then a closing. Okay, what was our goal, and did we achieve it or not? What were the things that we achieved so far? Then for the goals, uh, you can check the education cycle of goal setting to have a more clear view on how do we actually set these goals. But basically, as I said before, you will need to have a lag measure. What is this ultimate goal that you are aiming for in this working space? And then what are the lead measures that are going to lead you to that? So, for example, in the case of approvals, then we will need accepted, we will need applicants, and we will need opens. So, okay, you need to have a goal for each one of these leads measures, so that you can actually be tracking it on the spot. Then for the follow up, like just put it maybe in the same tracking tool. If you have a tracking tool of the working space with the applicants, for example, you can put like a tab that says next steps, and put like one action, who's the responsible, what is the deadline, so it can be super clear for everyone, and then you can be having a easier tracking. So some tips and tricks: always bring snacks, as I told you, or Moroccan tea. I always said that there's no working space without food. It lightens up the mood, it makes people more comfortable. Then try to make it interactive or fun or intense, like people will be much more engaged and enjoying participation. Set reasonable and achievable goals. You're not going to be like, okay, let's do 100 approvals in one working space, because that's impossible. So you need to actually have like really achievable goals that are reasonable and your people can achieve. The workspace can happen in a local touch point. It can be an LC meeting, it can be a team meeting, it can be a department meeting, or it can be just another working space, like totally random, that you just booked. And just arrange little breaks in the middle so that people can chill, they can breathe, and they can actually get more energy. For the checklist, what are the things that you need to do? So set a routine with your team. My recommendation is that you have working spaces fixed at least 2 times per week. So you can know that your members, at least on those 2 moments of the week, they're being productive and they're actually taking forward all the actions that they need to do. So this would be my recommendation, to have a routine. For example, every Wednesday we have a working space. Then to set a start and end date, time, place, and communicate it with to the team in advance, arranging the agenda, working in whatever it needs to be like the most effective space, having the working space, and then following up on the next steps. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys had insights and learned a little bit. So in case you have any questions, you can contact me, and I hope this was useful. See you in the next one.